Here we go. Hello, Mark LeBusque.
Hey mate, how are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm so excited to have you here now with us. My one question that pops into mind right away, Mark, is how is tomorrow? Is it
Uh,
hopeful?
it's Tomorrow actually started interestingly for me, Mike. I think I got to bed about 2 a.m. because I found it hard to drag myself away from this event. And but I did also know that I had a virtual PT session at 6 a.m. this morning, so I got myself about 3 hours sleep. And tomorrow's been good so far, but it's about to get better, I reckon. Hanging out with you for half an hour and all these good folk that have been, both speaking on this, but also providing such amazing commentary in the chat line. So I'm pumped up, mate, and I'm going to set you a challenge here though, because we haven't heard a lot from you so far, and you are the voice, mate. So I was hoping we could have a 30-minute chat, like no one's listening, but everyone's listening. So let's see how we go.
Well, I know that you've got such goodness to share, and I want the audience to be able to experience that, Mark, because you've been teaching this work. You've been the provocateur to put the bullshit aside and start owning what is real and what is possible, right? And you've already provided that challenge, right? When we got together for the first time ever for Humans First, which was actually kind of invented in discussions with you. And you came over from Australia and you said, let's do something together. And, we did the crazy thing of just bring a bunch of people in the room and say, what's it like to be human in the workplace today? And everybody told us, well, you have to have more structure. You have to give them something like a grab bag or 3 takeaways, and we found out that people actually just wanted to open up and share what experience they were having. And
yeah, absolutely. Mate, I remember that fondly. And, if I go back to, I guess, the things that really drive me in this human space, connection and belonging. So let's talk quickly about connection. And, I met Claude Silver because I reached out on LinkedIn. We podcasted. She said, you need to meet Mike. I met you. You then said, you need to meet Kevin Munro. So I met Kevin and we podcast. And then Kimberly Davis turns up as well. And, there's this richness now of getting people together who are doing this work with good intention, but doing it, I'd say, also pretty fearlessly, because what I am going to share about today is the challenge that we have, as I think Dennis said at one stage, about the spring that's going to bounce back on us at some point in time, how we can, use the bravery that Kimberly spoke about and the goodwill and the good intention that others have spoken about to resist this, because it will come. But, it was a delight, mate, to be with you in New York. We've continued to talk. I remember our conversation as we walked out that day, and I think I did provoke you at the time. I sort of said, in not so many words, that you need to step into your space here, mate, and own it. And I think you've done an incredible job to do that. So I applaud you.
Thank you. I needed that encouragement, right? Because with something that is ambiguous to start with, leaving space to explore what it can be, but you were strength and encouragement to not shrink under that pressure. And you say something very often, Mark, that stays with me, and it's in the book, and is hold your nerve.
Yeah.
And leaders have to go first.
Yeah, indeed. And, I've heard some amazing personal stories today, and the 3 words that this hold your nerve piece, and I think it's important for all of us, particularly in this time, because we're going to cop some resistance at some point in time from the old system. And I remember working with a big sales team in my last corporate role, and I said to them, for the first 3 months, we were not going to look at any financial data at all. We were going to focus on 4 things that would drive us to a great financial outcome, which were thankfulness, helpfulness, care, and fun. So literally what we did for 3 months was we became more aware of being thankful, helpful, caring for each other and having fun. And we literally did not look at our sales data at all. And when I allowed my salespeople to go back and do that, we found that our results were just about on par, maybe a bit below. And my people said to me, we need to go back to the old way. And I remember just sitting there at the time, and this was a very big moment for me, and it's one that I carry into my business today. And I've heard it, not so much in the words today, Mike, but in different words, is something told me to hold my nerve. Do not go back to where you came from. And I think that was a really important moment for me to then take that into the work I do today, which is about getting managers, leaders, teams and organisations in the face of adversity and in the face of the old system wanting to reclaim its rightful place as it sees it, to hold our nerve. So those three words are extremely... I hold them very closely because it's sort of how I live. And the other one is the going first, that if we have any expectation of others to step into their leadership and demonstrate leadership, we must go first. And that could be the simplest thing, which could be saying, I don't know the answer to this problem we've got at the moment, right, to even sharing quite a vulnerable story so people can make sense of how you are as a human being.
And think of that opportunity, Mark, is there may not be another time that a leader gets a total pass to step in and say, you know what, for the first time, I've been able to reflect on some things and I'm bringing in a new idea. I'm remaking a decision that I've held on to forever. I'm no longer going to point the laser beam into your eye and blind you with fear. I'm actually going to set that tool aside and explore what the world looks like from your vision. We get a pass for those that are afraid of losing their power or showing up vulnerable or not being strong. You get a one-time pass here to actually show up as a better human being when you get back in front of people.
You know, you used the word before, the B word, bullshit. If we drop the bullshit now, this is our chance to take that armor off, however we've worn it, however it's rewarded us. The opportunity now is with a free pass that someone says, go and do this, is that, you know, the thing we get back to is regardless of our title, our years of service, our department, what we have in common is we're human. And I think that's, when you get that free pass at the moment, I think that's the starting point, is deep connection, a strong sense of belonging, creating a safe environment for people to say their bit without fear of, you know, being seen like they don't fit in. You know, the people on this call today are sort of a bit like the misfits of the old world. They didn't fit in. They actually had the courage to take the pass that they were given when it wasn't safe to take the pass.
Right.
And I think there's something in this now, is that we have a role. This rally, coming off the back of this rally, it's like, what do we do? Our role is to allow other people to know that we're there to help them when they take that pass.
Yes, and Mark, what I love about that is it's not like a collection of dreamers and unrealistic thinkers, right? You've led big departments, big groups of people. I have led, you know, large teams of people in very complex business and achieved. And it, you know, we were talking about education and the leadership there. You know, Bob Chapman was with us, leading currently an organization. Claude Silver, who kicked off the day, is leading through these challenges in very real time. It's a strain. It's stressful. There's active leadership in that. Mark Crawley talked about, you know, leading those big teams in the financial industry, and it's not all fairy dust and fairy tales and belief. This is the reality of being able to achieve in a desirable and sustainable manner, and actually bring more people to a higher level because
Yeah,
we're not holding them back. And
interesting couple of things to pick up from what you say. And again, you know, there's no textbook that told us how to be human.
right.
There is no textbook that we should be reading really that's telling us how we should step into this next phase of humanizing workplaces. And the challenge there, and you almost went there at one stage today, you know, there are the textbook gurus who are now coming out and turning up and saying, we can help you get through this thing by following these steps and you'll be okay. And, you know, more of that stuff is got to come out of here and less of it's got to come out of the book. I think some of the theoretical stuff is really, really useful, by the way, but it's nowhere near as powerful as what we can do as individual human beings and as a collective of humans to understand that we're not going to get the answers to these questions out of a textbook.
Yes, and we're not going to get the answers out of the old thinking, right? So the big consultancies that are actually more part of the problem than the solution, right? They're in need of the solution, and we see that work. So, you know, we'll just call out McKinsey comes in with their now framework, right? And it's like 5 words that start with R, and it's all the words that we already know, right? Well, you start with resiliency, and then, you know, you build it up, and it builds in these 5 R words so they can put it on a page and it looks nice, and, you know, they can walk in and own the problem for their clients, but it ends with return. And so there is the, you know, reconciliation, and there is all the, you know, the financial pieces, and there's good data and research. But what we know, Mark, is the people in the organizations already have the answers. And if we allow them to voice what they know, and we change the measures, for goodness sakes, that's what's been missed.
It's interesting that, you know, when I did that work with my people around thankfulness, helpfulness, care and fun, there was a conflict in the business that we ended up, our results were nearly 240% ahead of our sales target for that year. And it was purely driven by I believe, the behavioral things that we did, the human things that we did. And the comment that was made to me, and this is where I'll sort of take us in our conversation for the rest of the time, is I was told that they loved my business results, but they didn't particularly like the way I went about getting them. I was spending too much time with my people. I was laughing too much. And this was the big one that I was told, you don't look stressed enough, Mark. So this whole idea of this is our opportunity. This is why I love the optimism of the Kevin Munros and the energy of the Kimberly Davises and the Cornells who go, this is our opportunity now to show people that the energy and the optimism and the fun and the caring and those things, we don't need to measure them on a KPI sheet. We just need to become more aware of them. And when we become aware of those things and they become our drivers of business success, the business will be successful. That's what will happen. But we've got this spring that Dennis talked about, which is, I wanted to go into that a bit more, this old system that we need to, I think we just need to be conscious of it. We don't need to be beholden to it, but we need to now be conscious of how we understand why it is like it is and how we can help it to move somewhere else.
You know, I think that's really important to focus on, because there could be that kind of lulled into, everybody will have a greater understanding of humane actions and, you know, being aware of our humanity and caring for each other. And we have all these great examples. People will just get it now, and then we can know that the world is healing a little bit and we'll go back to our normal lives. And in reality, that has to be a continuous practice, because the clouds will clear, the sun will come out, and that shadow will reemerge, and that shadow will grasp for control once again.
Absolutely. And I think that's the message for today from me, is that, and, you know, I was lucky to spend some time at Harvard Kennedy School back in 2014 and doing the adaptive leadership immersion. And what became really apparent that I couldn't make sense of before was that the old system is very, very good at bouncing back hard.
Yes.
And that's sort of my share today, is for people to be thinking that we all hold a truth now. We all hold our own truth, which is, my truth is that every human belongs, that every human is valued, that every human is listened to and has a perspective that will help us to humanise workplaces and humanise communities. Now, that's my truth. But there's another truth for an old system that's been in place for 100 years. And that's their truth is about command and control, and that hierarchy is king. It's all about work defining you and speaking when you're asked to speak, and that failure is fatal. So what we need to understand is there are two very distinctive truths that are here at the moment. The human one is really starting to surface. I love that the last two speakers talking about, I think there's great things we can do in education to bring the next generation of leaders through. What we need to understand, though, is that the old system is going to fight for what it believes is its rightful place, Mike. And the role we have to play is what I've talked to you about before, which brought a smile to your face, is we need to be able to do what I call the dance of leadership, which is dancing between our relentless optimism for this new way and the brutal realism that, as you said, as the clouds disappear, the shadow of the old system will re-emerge. And it is our role in a leadership capacity to be brave enough to stand there and say, you're not coming back, buddy.
Right.
And I'm going to have to put myself at risk as a human being in order for the collective to win. Because one of the things that Marty Linsky, who's one of the fathers of adaptive leadership, talks about is that leadership is about the distribution of loss at times. When we make leadership decisions, as we have all made to be on this human path, we potentially will put ourselves at risk. So we might have to lose some things that have rewarded us in the past in order for everyone to gain. And so I think what we need to look at is somewhere between relentless optimism and brutal realism is hope. And I've heard so much today, Mike, about hope, which I think's an amazing thing. It's now about, can we hold our nerve when this old system reappears? Because the old system is also very, very clever.
Yes.
It's sneaky, it's deceitful, it's very durable. It's been around for 100 years and it keeps bouncing back. So we've got to be ready for a big fight here. And I call it a fight very, very deliberately, that we have to fight the old system. But we also need to understand and have some empathy for the old system. As we preach about empathy, we should also understand that it's coming from a place where it believes that its truth is the truth.
Yes, I think that's really important. And there's lessons that came out of that. We did discover that we're brilliant at commanding and orchestrating, right? And systems and process, we know those things now. We don't have to keep inventing them. We don't have to put complexity on things just to show our intelligence. The intelligence is actually simplifying. And what I love about the brutal reality and the hopefulness, Mark, is that, or the optimism. The old system owns the rituals, right? And that's holding the nerve, is to say, I understand the value that provided at that time, respect for the past, but I'm not going to participate in that ritual, that process, that thinking, that behavior of fear-inducing command and control. I'm not going to participate in that ritual anymore. That's not welcome. And in that is the risk, right? And that's why it takes so many in mass standing together to say, you're supported in that. Don't participate in that old ritual. And then to be able to have enough demonstration that the results that are desired, the outcomes that are necessary, are still available, if not even more available. And my belief is they'll be more sustainable. And our belief together is people will certainly enjoy it more.
Yeah, and I love what Jeff said just about leadership just before, about not being about title. And our opportunity, everyone's opportunity here, is to understand that leadership is what we do. It's an act. It's not. I like to say that leadership is a verb. It's not a title. So every human being is capable of demonstrating an act of leadership. And I think our opportunity and the optimism that I get from this amazing group that I've found is we have an opportunity then to create an environment where others who believe they're not leaders because they're not important or have a title, they start to be protected in some way to step into their acts of leadership. And so a simple example would be when the old system turns up again, as it will,
Right.
It will do things like shut people down when they're speaking. We want to give people the opportunity and the permission at that time to say, hang on a minute, that's not the way we operate around here anymore. And that voice can come from anybody. And I think that's our great opportunity. That's the hope that I have, is that leaders in business today and managers in business today will hold their nerve, even when they're working up a level and the old system creeps back in, that they will allow people to step into their leadership, say what needs to be said in order to help us to slowly move that old system back into the shadows where it needs to reside.
I think that brings a lot of clarity into those decisions and is really important. I had said that, I was going to get out of the way and not just sit and riff with you for this time. And here we go. We've used up this time.
Mate, I don't get enough time with you. So every moment I get to hang out with you like this, I was determined that I could keep you talking, and it's worked beautifully for me. So it's a pleasure. There's another thing just quickly I wanted to mention. This is something that I think I read it in a LinkedIn article not long back from one of the group, and we were talking about, I sort of introduced this concept of disciples, doubters, and detractors. And to frame that around what I've just spoken about is we need to be spending time in our leadership role with all of those groups. One of the things we've done, one of the things the old system has got us to do is to hang around people who are like us and who like us and think like us and do like us and be like us. And this is why this is such a great group, because this is where we draw our energy to keep fighting the good fight. But let's not forget, we also need to hang around the detractors right at the other end, the people who are telling us that it's all kumbaya and throwing rose petals out in front of each other. We need to actually go out to their space and understand what's going on for them, so we can help them to see that there's another way, even though they may not become disciples, that they can see another way. The real hope I see is, I guess, to finish off here, Mike, is the doubters. What I call the curious souls of the world, the ones who aren't quite sure whether they should go back to the old way because it's rewarded them with a nice office and a nice car and a lovely house. Or they're also curious to see that, hey, there's this guy called Mike Vacanti who's created this Humans First thing. All those people seem to be like really energized and doing amazing things. I might go and hang out with them for a while. I think we need to step out of our comfort of hanging around people just like us and start to step into hanging out with human beings who don't know what they don't know. And this is where the provocation comes from, is to provoke them into thinking in a purposeful way, to provoke their thinking about what could the world be like if you just came and had a look over here for a moment.
And that is the great opportunity. And it's really a segue to what I hope will take place next coming out of this rally, Mark, is there's a new series that I'm putting together that is going to take many of us into a more active environment. So we can take these ideas and actually bring them out into the environments where we live and work and exist. And it's actually another iteration of Humans First. So we've done the kind of invite, right, and the calls and a lot of the media stuff, and then there's the live events and this rally and kind of a way to engage and what I'll say, to discover together and get to know each other and kick up ideas. But now it has to come to action, and so this next piece that I'll be launching right on the heels of this next week is called Humans First Forward. And in essence, Mark, it is what would be a consultancy if we were going to create a consultancy. Yeah. Only it's not a consultancy because we're not billing under that. Nobody's going to be hired into it. But it is that collective of best programs that are going to start to explore how. So we can go out together, not with one path forward, not with one best way, but with the many opportunities to embrace how do we really move this forward and start to offer opportunities for people to engage with that. And that, I've been pushed in a way into, Mike, don't just sit and enjoy this thing that's going on. That's wonderful that it's happened, but we want more now. And how do we get this done? And again, you're provoking that so strongly with me today. And what I know is I need a lot of help, right? Because it's going to be the many of us together, supporting and challenging each other, because
I think there's a couple of things to finish off with. This is a long game. I've already heard that today. That the game of human is a long game, so we need to be patient with this. There's so much goodwill and optimism and energy to break through here. So we just need to understand it's a long game. Short-termism is the old system. What was last week's results? How'd we go? When we make silly decisions based upon a weekly result, we need to look at this over an elongated time. The other thing is, the question that I ask my clients quite often around leadership is, what are you prepared to individually lose in order for the collective to win? So there's a question for people to take away today. It's like, what are you prepared to lose? For me, I need to lose a bit of ego around the detractors. I've got to go and spend more time with the detractors to understand their story. And that's hard to do because I'd rather hang out with you and the Humans First guys, but I'm going to have to go and do things like that. Just to wrap up, mate, you're not getting off without some acknowledgement of what you've done here either. And I just want to say that I know that I'm grateful, and I'm sure the other speakers who have been given the opportunity are grateful for the phone call or whatever it was that you reached out with. Mate, you are driving the bus of this human change, and we're all jumped on the bus with you. And I'm so fortunate you gave me a ticket to get on the bus. I know other people are. The issue you've got now, mate, is the bus isn't going to be big enough. So you're going to need to get a bigger bus. But mate, just to finish off, you're an amazing human being. Everything that you are doing at the moment is being done with great intention, and you need to just sit and make sure that you spend a moment after today to just go, I'm proud of this thing. And I'm just wondering, what is that thing you're most proud of? Because you should be very proud, mate.
I'm proud of the fact that people will invest themselves in exploration of better possibilities and truly bring, the different voices and accept each other. Right. So I've watched people set their ego aside and change their minds along the process, Mark. So there's some that would share that when they first started hearing about this, it was like, oh, I don't know if I really want to share that space with people, because that's my thing, that's my stuff. And they've changed their mind and seeing that we can accomplish so much more together. I know this, that it's way bigger than me, right? There's no way that I could conceive orchestrating all of these people finding each other and coming together. So there's this, I guess, gratitude and then responsibility to, hey, if this is all shaping around me and happening
Yeah.
to me, then I should be thankfully stepping into it and contributing what I can.
And mate, just to finish there, someone had to go first, and that's the act of leadership. You went first, mate. So you sit with that and take the applause from your fellow colleagues and take some applause from yourself, mate.
Thank you. I when I do sit back and reflect on, the 22 people that we've gathered together today, as it was unfolding, the gravity of that was really hitting me like, oh my gosh, these are some of the most amazing people on the planet. I'm in orbit with them. How lucky am I? I love the gravity of this.
Fantastic, mate. We could just keep talking forever, but I know it's 9 o'clock in the morning here on a Friday now, and I'm sure that there are people who are getting hungry over your way. So, how do we wrap this up?
It's the best way to wrap it up, I think, is the way we started it, Mark, and that's what's next. This is just, see you tomorrow kind of thing. It's been a fabulous day, and seriously, it means a lot to me. It's very heartfelt that I got to start the day with Claude and end this amazing rally day with you, bookending that, because when we walked into that room together, meeting for the first time face to face on October 18th, 2018, I didn't know this day was going to take place. The depth of relationships and the community. But I think, again, the strength and the encouragement that you bring, Mark, is what do we do tomorrow?
Yeah.
This was a great day. That should be enough fuel in the tank to do something even better tomorrow. And that's what I'm going to really take away.
Yeah.
And I thank you for being that strength and that friend, and stepping in continually to encourage us to provoke possibilities for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think, mate, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you and your friendship, mate. And good things happen to good humans in the end, my friend. Thank you.
We're going to see each other soon. I am going to get to Oz.
Yep.
It's a commitment. As soon as they allow those birds to fly, I'm on one.
Yeah, make sure, end of the year, mate. Our weather's about to turn bad, so come out here in about September, October, and you'll have a great time. Mate, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Happy May 1st.
Thank you very much.